Hey, this is Kehinde Fawumi. You're listening to the Unleash Your Genius podcast.
When you have a job, you get an income on a monthly basis. You spend it on a car, you spend it on your rent and everything, and then the money goes away. And that's it. It's out. But in some cases, let's say that you're paying a mortgage on a house. That job pays you, and your mortgage is a liability because you're paying into it, right? And because it's a liability, it gives you an expenses and the money gets out as well. But the goal is, so you want your income to pay into an asset, and that asset pays you more income. Of course, part of those income you can spend as expenses, and part of it goes away. But notice that the original money that comes in is not actually what you're spending from. What you're spending from is the income that comes out of the assets that you got with your income. And that's what this represents. You want to be able to have income coming in from your assets. So every income you get from your job is considered a seed. And that's what you use to make more money. And we talk about other ways to do that, of course. And that pays you some income. So that's the goal. You want to be able to get passive income. And what you also want to see is to understand the quadrant. At first, you start by being an employee because you have a job. And then you can transition to being self-employed because here you own a job. But you don't settle there. You get yourself incorporated, you get more people helping you, you grow into a proper business where you have a system that works for you. And that is not the stopping point. You navigate into being an investor. They get most of the money from the stocks that they own. So for example, Steve Jobs was popularly known as the guy that earns $1 from being the CEO of Apple, per year. For the whole year. So he doesn't get any income because he's so invested in that business that all of his income actually just comes in form of stocks and all that. And since his living or his livelihood is anyway paid for by the company, he doesn't need any income anyway. That's where you want to go. It's your choice. You determine your financial success. It's lame people who blame people. What you see is that you're in charge here. You determine how you want to control this flow. So don't blame someone for taking money out of you. Nobody can force you to do a thing unless you agree to do it. So it's lame people who blame people for their financial status. So start doing this immediately. Pay yourself first. I like this quote from Richest Man in Babylon, that book. It says, "Fool, you labor for others and you don't pay yourself." And that connects to me strongly because let's assume that you earn $2,000 dollars, from your job that you work for 40 hours per week. And you pay a rent of, let's say, $1,000 per month. That means that 20 hours of your toiling per week is to your landlady or your landlord, the owner of your house. Right. And let's say that one brother somewhere was able to trick you into giving him another 500. That means that every single week, it means then that, how much is that? 10 hours per week has gone to that guy, So that's the way you want to think about it. So many times you earn this and then before you even get it, it's all gone. What that means that everything you did for the entire month, was for others. You labor for others. And if you think about it well, that's painful to realize that everything you did, you got nothing out of it. So when I say pay yourself first, it shouldn't be a tough thing to do. It actually should come from the point of a personal appreciation that I did this for me. So if there's anything you should start doing immediately, it should be that you pay yourself first. And how do you do that? You can have a savings account. All banks offer some kind of savings accounts, alongside with your normal salary accounts. And you just And you can have a standing order. I have lots of standing orders such that immediately your money comes in, your bank automatically transfers some percentage of that amount to your savings account. Do that, and you're going to see how much difference that's going to make. And why that's important is that you begin to see that you can start transferring those income into assets. And I'll explain what that means soon. And then that will make you some more money. Paying yourself first is actually invest in yourself first. That money goes into some kind of account. And that's important. If you get salary and then you have a side business going on, a side hustle, and you put money into that, that is paying yourself. You know, I just give an example of putting it in a bank account. It could be also putting it into business. Or if you are only in doing that business, you don't have any other source of income, and the money that comes in, I would argue that most of this money actually goes back into the business, and that is paying yourself. The point is just that it should not be all into expenses that other people get the money out of it, and nothing comes back to something that benefits you on the long run. If you pay a rent, it doesn't benefit you in the long run. It's gone forever. You know, if you pay a school fee, even, of course, your child in the future will give you some money, but at that moment, it is gone, basically. So if it's an investment into business, yes, it is paying yourself. That's the first thing. Second thing is, don't do what poor people do. If you want to be rich, find out what people read and don't read it. Or find out the philosophy and think differently. And I like to appeal to our religious minds here, because there are some philosophies we need to do away with. For example, that subconsciously we've put a limit to how far we can go in terms of financial success. We are taught to be contented with little. We're taught to, and I'll argue that it's sinful to be contented with little. We can get to that discussion later on. I do not mean it's wrong. I think it's sinful. It's sinful. It's a sin. And I'll explain what I mean to you if I have more time. So such a mentality is a mentality that anyways does not give you enough motivation to push to be more. The mentality of saying that just have enough for what you need and just get it done. Or there's this one that they say that, and I'll try to say it in English, that when your yam is ripe for harvest, harvest it by, you just cover your hand with it and harvest it alone. Don't let anybody know that you made some money. Like in my language, it's tishueni bata amanda wabo jenny. Don't let people know. There are mentalities that tries to limit you. If you try to do a business, you don't want to go out that much, or people don't talk too much about yourself. And those are just examples. There are philosophies that you may not even know that you have. So you begin to challenge your mind that way. One thing that I see that helps a lot is to affirm to yourself. You can do affirmations, meditation. That works on your mind. Many people don't believe it's fine to meditate. Meditation is nothing other than being silent and really reaching down to the deepest part of your being and getting out the truths to yourself and bringing it to the surface and making it clear to yourself. Call it anything. Sometimes we got it as prayers, meditation, affirmations, whatever. But the point is, work on your mind. Third thing, become more. And I can't stress this enough. To earn more, you need to become more valuable. You don't get paid for your time, you get paid for the value you add. I give you an example. Someone earns today $2 per hour. Many people earn lesser than that, by the way. I think the minimum wage here in Europe is better. So that's about, 10 euros or so, or maybe 12 now. But Elon Musk, he earned $1.3 million per hour. Not talking about per day, I'm talking about per hour in the fiscal year 2019. 1.3 million per hour. Now, someone asks, why is that? Well, I don't know. Do you know? Nobody knows. What I know is that the numbers don't change, only the faces change. Tomorrow, it may not be Elon Musk, it may be someone else. There will always be people that will earn less than $2 per hour. And there will always be people that earn millions per hour. The numbers don't change. It's always been like that. But the faces, the people will change. My challenge is that you be the face that earns the millions. The best investment is in yourself, because whatever you learn stays with you. So really work on yourself. The top 1% in the United States have more income than the bottom 90% combined together. Someone says, why is that the case? Well, I don't know. Again, the numbers are always the same. Only the faces change. The question is, just don't care. Just be in the top 1%. And don't care about why it is what it is.